One study, which we'll talk about a little bit more in class, and you should definitely remember, involves observations that under certain tasks, in particular in this task, this is a situation where individuals have to do reversal learning, which means that they learned one thing and then they have to learn a totally different pattern. So they spend a lot of time practicing doing something one way, and now they have to practice doing something in a completely different way. So normally in healthy control subjects, people with people when they're unlearning a task, they need to inhibit the old motor plan, and so the orbital frontal cortex gets very active. In patients, people with obsessive compulsive disorder, their orbital frontal cortex shows less activity during this reversal training when they're unlearning these previously learned behaviors. Now, this may make a little bit of sense for obsessive compulsive disorder because with obsessive compulsive disorder, people can't stop themselves from thinking about something, so they can't unlearn a worry in a sense. One interesting observation of this is that relatives, siblings, parents, and children who do not themselves have obsessive compulsive disorder show similar decreased activity. I'll return to that in just a bit. In people with obsessive compulsive disorder, when they're just sitting around not doing anything at all and just let their mind wander and think, you see actually more activity in the orbital frontal cortex than healthy controls. This also, in a sense, makes sense when we think about the orbital frontal cortex because it's kind of the worrying part of the brain. It's the part that says, wait, let's stop and think before we do something. It's the inhibitions, right? Damage causes impulsivity. And so people with obsessive compulsive disorder can't stop that conscience, that worry center when they're not doing anything. But then when they go to unlearn something, that area is underactive. So it's not that it's too active or too little active, but it's active in the wrong times in people with obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, as a question to think about leading into class on Tuesday, I want you to think about what it means for OCD and for brain function and for the genetics and biological aspects of OCD to have this observation that healthy relatives, siblings of people with OCD, parents of people with OCD, or children of people with OCD who themselves do not have OCD still have this decreased activity of orbital frontal cortex when they're doing this reversal learning. As a note, they still can unlearn the worries as well. So think about what that means in terms of what's caused genetically and whether the symptoms are specifically because of this lack of ability to unlearn or specifically because of the brain activity or how the sort of causal links between genetics, brain activity, learning and unlearning of behaviors, and disease all come together.